Now we're live.
So, hi and welcome everyone to this seminar from Konstepedmin in Gothenburg. It's a seminar about online conversation to say about performance art in these very special times. So we are here, we're keeping distance, but we are all present. So we will start this small meeting with a very short introduction. You can just say your names and a little bit very shortly about your work. So we can start with Bianca.
Yes, hi, my name is Bianca Hisser and I am based in Tromsø, Norway, but I come from Brazil and my work is mostly based in performance art, but I also work with installation and sculptures.
Yeah, and we have Åsa.
Hello, everybody. My name is Åsa Alsen. I'm an artist based in Näshulta, Sörmland, Sweden. I am here today to talk about a collaboration that I'm doing together with Malin Arnell, and it's called Forest Calling, a never-ending contaminated collaboration, or dancing is a form of forest knowledge. And it's a 3.7 hectares large public artwork in the form of a growing forest.
And Brian, who are you?
I'm Brian Patterson and I'm representing Be Beyond, and it was an organization set up in 2001, so 20 years ago. We'll be celebrating our birthday later this year, like in October, and you know, we do what you call projects. We get annual funding and do projects and workshops, and we have visiting artists. So basically what we're trying to do is promote performance art in not only just in Northern Ireland, but abroad as well. Like, you know, so we're here to promote performance art. And in 2008, we started this idea of to make performances together, and we called it just Performance Monthlies, because that's what it started to happen every month, and so we've been doing them ever since. So that's what we've become more known for, as these monthly meetings. Like,
And Sandra.
Hello, my name is Sandra Borzi. I'm an architect and performance artist from Belgrade, living in New York, and I'm here to present the online performance art platform.
And we have Lovisa.
Hi, my name is Lovisa Johansson. I'm an artist, as everybody else here. Today I represent Pulse Performance Art Links, a platform for performance art with the idea of linking different people, organizations, projects within the performance art field. And this event is one collaboration between us and Konstepedmin. Today I will also contribute with small performance video interludes with my performance group VUL, which is me and Wenche Tankred. And I will lead the little conversation in a while.
And we have Dennis.
Yes, and I'm Dennis, and I'm also representing Pulse as a Performance at Links festival in Stockholm together with Lovisa, and I'm representing Konstepedmin as a member of international group and organizer of this event. So I'm collaborating in between different sides of me, left and right side of me. Yes.
Yeah, and we have John.
Yes, my name is John Huntington, and I'm an artist as well. And I am also the international coordinator at Konstepedmin. So and here today I'm a bit responsible for the technical stuff.
We're happy for that. And I am Jill Lindström, and I'm also an artist and representing here 13-festivalen that I am curated together with Anna Karlsson, that couldn't be here today, but I'm also in the international group. So Lovisa, what will happen now?
Yes, first we start with the first short VUL interlude, which is one in a series that is called VUL in Wood and Water.
Yes.
If you want to help us, John.
Yep.
Okay. So from the woods to the conversation. So it's special times we are living in. Culture is running slow, but not everything shuts down. Artists find new ways. A lot of things go online, of course. Interesting things are happening on Zoom, as us, Facebook, YouTube. But there is also a strong tendency for people to go outdoors and meet, at least here in Sweden, where we haven't had such a strict lockdown. You can see people in a new way out. If you walk through the parks and the urban forests, you can see activities that don't normally are there, like children's parties or big circles with workout or family work gatherings. So pandemic has isolated people, yes, but in a way has also made people more visible. So I thought we could just talk a little bit about your work and your work, how the pandemic has affected your work. We had a very short round before, but we could take one more, a little bit more elaborated. So maybe Sandra, do you want to start and tell us a little bit more about your project, online performance art?
Yes, of course. Well, when I started, when I created online performance art, I was in a situation where it came from me spontaneously. I was personally in similar situation like now with this pandemic thing, and I wanted to, when I created it, at first I wanted to explore the new technology and the new world and the new ways that the internet offers, and that's how online performance as my artwork first was created. And then I did 3 online performances on the website that also I designed and created, onlineperformanceart.com. And after those works, I wanted to share and to try to interact with other artists and to try to, let's say, offer the new option and the new way of showing performance art. That way was online directly on the website and only on the website. And that in that moment was I created a festival, and the first edition was for me a new thing that I tried. I asked artists, and the response was very let's say was big, but it was because it was a new thing, and it was also for me strange, but also exciting, and I felt it like a good thing to have the new in the technology way, speaking the new way of showing performance art, and that was the moment when all started. Now it's 19th edition of the festival, and about the pandemic, it didn't affect much. It didn't affect at all, I think, only with the topics and with the environment of the performances. But as regarding to online performance art, it's pretty much the same thing.
Okay, thank you. So we have all different starting points. If we already have a format that works on the pandemic or not. But maybe Brian, you would like to continue and talk a little bit more about this, especially about these monthly performance gatherings.
Yeah, I mean, that's what Be Beyond have become kind of known for. Like we started this in 2008 and in the summer solstice, and we've been doing them ever since. So it was kind of like a regular meeting, but it's also a way for people to meet regularly. And like we didn't know what we were doing. It was just an experimental thing, like to kind of to have people have the opportunity to meet more regularly and to make performances for each other and simultaneously together like that. And so then, but out of that, like, you know, there was kind of like a strong kind of like community has kind of grown from that. And we didn't realize that, like, you know, it wasn't, you know, we weren't thinking about that in the plan, like, you know, but I remember at the start when we were starting to do them, like, you know, I remember we had to, you know, you put in a lot of effort. Now there was no effort like to put into it. Like, you know, it started to drive us, like, so it was, you know, so the pandemic now affected us in the way that, because we would meet in a public space, it was always a public space we would take to kind of have these meetings, like, you know, every month. And we would, you just make performances simultaneously, and you know, in the winter times now there would be shorter times, maybe an hour or something like that, but sometimes in the summer times we ran longer ones. And then we, you know, we developed other projects. We were kind of running, like, you know, in June it was 6 hours for 6 artists for 6 hours and things like that. But what actually happened was that when the pandemic came, you know, then it really forced us to have to kind of rethink our way of doing. And the first time we made performances, then we did them remotely in our own places, and we just took photographs of the evidence, or some people took videos, like, you know. So it wasn't actually until last May that we did our first Zoom thing, like, you know. And so we've been doing Zoom performances kind of like regularly since, like, well, except for the months of July, August and September, we were actually able to do actual meetings, like, you know, for those 3 months in the summertime, like, you know. And it was really, you know, really palpable, like, you know, the way you could actually sort of feel the way that people came together. And that was, for me, it was the most interesting thing, like, you know. I mean, it's just to have that experience again. I'm kind of looking forward to when we actually are going to meet together again, like, you know. So
in a way, it actually worked. You work together.
Yeah, well, it was what it actually developed out of it was that, well, another friend that kind of works with me too as well, James King, like, you know, from Derry, and he basically does these performances every week, right? So, you know, people think Be Beyond are hardcore, like, you know, kind of there. And James will be joining us kind of later on, but he would do these kind of weekly sessions. And so then it was actually, we realized there that we were, people wanted to keep these going. So they've been going like every week still as well. So we do, you know, once every month and something every week, like, you know. So, but it was more to do with the community of people. It was people meeting. So the idea that people could meet together was a kind of interesting. I know it's very limiting with the sort of sense of the kind of the head and shoulders, and I just call it these head and shoulder performances, like, kind of there, you know, because, you know, if you stand away back to get a whole body, and then depending on how many people are in the screen, you're not going to see much, like, you know. So, but it was more to do with the community, and I kind of realized that it was like that sense of just to be together, you know, share time together, I think was the most important thing. But you know, so we learned something about that. Yeah.
Yeah, it will be very interesting to see you live work in the end of this session. Yeah. Okay, so Åsa, we invited you to talk particularly about this Forest Calling project, and it's a very rich project working on very many levels. But maybe if you introduce it to us, you could emphasize a little bit the performance aspects of it. I think you have some formulation somewhere that you see that the forest, that's an ongoing performance in itself, and what you mean with that. And also you had this event in the forest with people in September.
Yeah, so I think it's important to say that it's been very difficult, of course, to do this project during the pandemic, parts of it, because we also wanted to engage a lot with people. One part of the project is to practice a kind of, sorry here, my English, a mutually sustainable relating. And that has very much to do with doing that together with people, but also doing it together with other life forms in the forest, and trying to really think about the forest as a kind of ongoing performance. And I think, I mean, first of all, we have just before the pandemic, we managed to enter into this agreement, and we want to take this forest out of production for infinity. And but to be able to do this, and to how we could work within the frameworks, legal frameworks of today, we had to first enter into a 50-year-long lease agreement. So that was done just before the pandemic started. So that was quite a difficult, or yeah, there was a lot of things to take into account in that whole conversation. So that happened before. So I think, but also at the same time, both Malin and I had in some way changed our lives. I had, together with my family, I had a while before the pandemic started, moved to the countryside. So I live pretty close to this forest. So I had already made a kind of a move towards trying to be closer and getting to know other creatures than humans. So that, I think, it's a very important kind of aspect. Not in any way to be negative about being around people and doing things together with people, but I think the environmental crisis that we're into really also is a kind of a call on us to also spend time and listen to and care for other life. So, and Malin had also moved to a situation where she had a studio kind of within a nature reserve. So we spend a lot of time in the forest all the time, and it's not only in that particular forest, it's in other forests. And we're trying to do that in a really active way of meeting and engaging with life that we meet there. But we have also met, not with so many people in this particular forest, but we did do a bus ride together with Public Art Agency Sweden, who is also part of the project as a kind of a collaboration. They are financing the project also. And so we managed to do that. And yeah, and it was also, we had wanted to invite other speakers and artists to engage with the forest in different ways, and also be present and present work on the bus ride. Of course, that didn't work, but we managed to get a lot of people, also international thinkers and practitioners of all kinds, to contribute with something that we then recorded. So it was a recording, so we could sit on the bus and listen to many kinds of contributions of different kinds. And it was very interesting as a way, I think, to think about future and to think about ways of trying to travel less, for example, and trying to find ways of being attentive. And that kind of attentiveness is something that I think we have a possibility to practice during these times.
Mm.
Yeah, that's
Nice. Thank you. I will give the word to Bianca, but before that, maybe that is something we can talk a little bit more about, how the feeling tone maybe changed through the pandemic, not only the hard facts like that we have to go online or we can't meet or this, but how has the pandemic change the feeling tone of the work or how the work is perceived. But we can take that in the second round. Bianca, please tell us a little bit about your work.
Yeah, actually, I have been very interested in working in public space already before the pandemic. So when the pandemic came, I was just like, okay, this is the best moment to focus on public space and on outdoor areas to do my projects. So in a way, in the beginning I was really affected by all the lockdowns and the uncertainty and having like all the exhibitions canceled. It was like this moment of bit of a panic from my side. But then after some months, I realized that there's so much potential also on working with those limitations. And when thinking of performance, I also have been thinking what is sort of needed at the moment, because I was thinking, okay, maybe inviting people to a gallery to see a performance is maybe not, that doesn't really make sense anymore. So why are we pushing that? Why are we trying to pretend everything is like it was, you know? Maybe we should try to like rethink all this, the conventions and the structures and the way that we see each other and the way that we bring people together. And online is one way, but also I think that at least from my personal like artistic practice, I've started being quite interested in doing performances without announcing. So without telling anyone that I'm performing, I go somewhere and I do something, and then I think that is a quite nice. It is a quite. I think in a way, as an artist, and especially nowadays with all the oscillations that we have in our work. I mean, not only nowadays, but I think it has always been a very unstable. A very unstable job. so I think it's always good to be flexible, or like to try to think of how to be flexible in those times, and to also try to understand what's my role as like a person, but also as a performer. Like, what do I put in the word now, and why? When art has definitely not been on the focus. Like I especially from me, looking from the side of a spectator, I haven't really been seeing much art nowadays because of Corona. I haven't been, even if the galleries are open, I haven't been in those. So I think it's also maybe seeing art hasn't been so common as it was. And so how do we deal with that? This has always been my question in the past year. And yeah, I've been working quite more with video and with other mediums that also some don't need the public gathering. But I must say that I miss quite a lot this moment of seeing the audience, of like having them very near me and having their, and seeing their bodies and feeling their vibe. Like it's so different to perform online for me, because you don't know who's there. It's like you're performing for your screen. So I struggle a bit sometimes with that. But that's also a lack of practice, because I just had to start doing it. So I think it has been taking me much more time to understand, like what should I do now, like what is needed from me. This is like always my biggest question.
Nice. That's a nice way to put it. What is needed from me now in this circumstance? So maybe that is, we don't have so much time on the conversation, but maybe that's the last round here, is somehow, what do I bring with me from this pandemic? What do I want to take with me and what do I long for when this period of a time is over. Yeah, we just take a short round with that. Do you want to start again, Sandra?
Yes. I was listening the talk, and what I'm thinking is that I would like and I expect, I don't know, the galleries and museums will open and work as before. I don't know why not. And for me, how I see it, it would be maybe good to continue that way of showing art, of course, as it was before. And also, of course, I hope that that new way of showing it online can also and will continue growing and will stay interesting for artists to show their works in that way. So that's how I see it, just like in two options of showing art, especially after these times, but also from start, I see it like that. And I don't know, I didn't know about Corona.
No, you had the foresight. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Brian, you want to continue?
Yeah, for myself and for Be Beyond, I think it's kind of, there's new people have come to us, like, you know, artists. So this is very interesting. We have never met them in actual real person. So this is another thing, like, you know, so to actually meet these people in person will be for what we'll be looking forward to, that idea to clink a glass and just to hear that ring go right out, like, out there. So, and just to be in the person's company, I think, you know, that was one of the things that, you know, for me, it was like you were asking about the kind of the feeling of it, you know, that we found that we can't perform much longer than an hour in front of the screen. It's kind of because there's no, you know, even though there's kind of sound, sometimes the texture of sound coming through and things like that, it can be okay. But when you're in actual real persons to person, like, you know, that there's a sense of like the synergy gives you energy. And that's what I sort of I think that's, for me, is kind of, that's a vitally important thing of like how that, I don't know what's happening or whatever. All I just know that from experiential meeting with people, like, you know, and being in their company, like, you know. So, I mean, like, and I know for Be Beyond, in a way that our committee meetings will go ahead, you know, like on Zoom, and it'll suit a lot of people, because the way I look at it is like, you know, for data to transfer is okay, but it doesn't, you know, it doesn't work so well for data. You know, data, okay, data, no, there's a bit of kind of, it doesn't, you know, fully manifest itself fully, like, out there in that way. But in a way, what for me the most important is that it keeps people together, and I think that that's kind of important thing, isn't it? Not just as, you know, individual artists, but there's also there's the life of the group as well. So for me, that's a kind of a good thing that has kept people together. So.
And you brought in some new people as well, thanks to
yes,
the pandemic.
Yes, people have come, you know, I've come interested because they wanted to make a connection, and they've come in, and so we, you know, so it will be great. I can't wait to meet them in actual real person. So that'll be something to look forward to. Yeah, so.
Thank you, Brian. Åsa, you want to add something?
Yeah, I mean, of course, I'm also so much looking forward to spending more time with people, getting that energy and exchange and closeness and intimacy and all these kinds of things. But I also really, really hope that we can use this crisis as a real kind of opening for trying to deal with the environmental crisis that we're in, and really find ways of restructuring society. I think it's a major possibility to do something after a crisis. So I hope that will happen, of course, like many others. And then I really, on a more practical level, I really hope that that some of these, that we learn to be very much more fine-tuned in when we meet actually online like this, which sometimes works extremely well, instead of traveling so much. But to try to find that balance, I think that's what I really hope for.
Yeah. Thank you. So Bianca, the last word is yours. You want to add something?
Yes. Yeah, I also think that when I look into the future, I'm quite optimistic. So I really think that exactly this is a moment to reflect on how much we produce, how much we consume, and how much do we need to keep doing those, keep like feeding this system that sometimes is not really what we want. And I realized that from my side, when the first lockdown came in the beginning of in the March 2020, I was traveling so much, and I was actually in a residency. So it all was sort of cut. It was like a disruption in my sort of way of moving, of my way of like circulating the world. And for me, and then I started thinking, is it really important that I keep going to so many places all the time, and keep like feeding this demand that we have to perform all the time, even when we are not performing like in a conventional sense. We are actually like performing, and performing for me became a synonym of producing and of like feeding, and just feeding this system that sometimes it just doesn't talk to me, or I feel like I have been in it without really wanting to. So I think that in the future, this is a very good moment to think of the future as an alternative way of actually making work and of actually producing, Yeah.
Thank you. So, thank you. With these thoughts about what we can learn of the pandemic and what positive energy and thoughts we actually can gain from this not very nice situation, of course. So this was mostly the talking part of this event. Now we will have experience part with performances and video performances. And I thought that for the next section, we would just have an unfolding with two small bull interludes and your forest calling, Åsa. So if you want to add something, an introduction to your forest calling video, maybe you can put that word out now.
Yeah, thank you. I just wanted to say that what you will see is, it will explain the project, but it's actually, it's something that we put together for this particular event. So it's a draft from an introduction that Malin and I made on this bus trip that I talked a little bit about. And then it's images from the forest, and it's cut up a bit. So it's not our whole conversation. And you also actually don't see the performance, if we wanted to say more kind of performance in a strict sense or whatever, that then took place in the forest is not what you will see. But it's a way to describe the project.
Mm.
Yeah.
So we will get bull, then forest calling, and then bull again. And then we will meet here.
Today is the 10th of September 2020. Independent activity. Today is the 10th of September 2020, and it's around 3 p.m. We are sitting on 2 buses to take us 50 people through the landscape of Sörmland. In about 40 minutes, the bus will let us off for the second time on this journey. This time it will be on a dirt road located at Fågelsta Estates grounds, close to Lake Aspen in Julita, Katrineholms municipality. We will get off the bus and walk down the dirt road for some 15 minutes before we will enter the 3.7 hectares in the form of a triangle, which is in its becoming a public artwork, a forest, and a habitat for endless and endless dead and alive vibrant matter. From a Swedish forest policy perspective, nothing makes this specific forest different from the nearby forest areas. It's all defined and used as production forest. Less than 10% of the forest in Sweden qualifies as old-growth forest, and it's debatable whether we even have forests that can be defined as primeval forest. From this perspective, we will step into a timber, paper, wood pulp material factory, a machinery of national pride and of property value, a historical document, a history of labor and efficiency.
We, Malin Arnell and Åsa Alsén, have made a cut in the deforestation plan, entered into a 50-year-long lease agreement. The lease makes it possible to take the forest out of production as a means to secure its agency and survival in infinite future. As in many older production forests, life in boundless variations still emerges. World makings are ongoing. We have not yet carried through a species inventory of the habitat. No one has, so no key biotopes are, as of yet, declared, and thus there is no biotope protection. Our hope is that within the coming 50 years, the 3.7 hectares will qualify as an older, natural, forest-like forest worth protecting.
We will move in multiple directions, triangular formations. We take a step away from the forest at the same time as we take a step forward and make a claim for the forest and its contaminated collaborations and processes.
Part of the forest we soon will engage through was planted during farmer Elisabeth Tam's time as owner of Fågelsta. Some of it, in particular as part of the scattered swamps, was already there, evolving for a long time. Together with pedagogue Honorine Hermelin, workplace inspector Kerstin Hesselgren, physician Ada Nilsson, and writer Elin Wägner, Elisabeth Tam founded the Fågelsta Group in 1921. The group came together through the common struggle for peace, democracy, and women's suffrage. They ran the Women's Citizen School at Fågelsta between 1925 and 1954 and published the political weekly periodical Tidevarvet, The Epoch. The group was politically engaged but independent of any political party and strongly committed to jordfrågan, the earth issue, that today can be understood as being part of a larger discussion regarding social, economic, and ecological resilience.
The forest becomes a monument, an ongoing, transformative, performative public artwork. When the forest is understood as a public artwork, it is lifted out of its predetermined context and becomes a kind of resistance to the Western teleological concept of time. The forest lives on in a different temporality, where a time axis from the Fogesta group and their struggle for peace with the earth is allowed to continue instead of being broken through clear-cutting. Peace with the Earth refers to a book written by Elisabeth Tamm and Elin Wagner, published in 1940. A quote from the book. In contrast to today's ideal, mechanization, specialization, and speed, we are consciously proclaiming the ideals that we believe will be tomorrow's. Independent activity, versatility, and patience.
How do our actions relate to colonial history? We started to call the 3.7 hectares of forest that we are negotiating around our forest. What does the feeling that this is our forest, our piece of land, do with us, with the forest? What is our obligation to the forest, our responsibility? Who should we listen to? Something whispers that it is completely impossible to own nature, to own land. Making a profit on the commons, the land, is the loss of our future.
Pay attention to the multitude of communicative registers, sounds, smells, behavior, the flowering trees, the seasons, the coming and going of birds, insects, and other creatures, the howling and the silence too, all the myriad communication of living beings as they sing up themselves and their connectivities. Here, forest calling provides a space for different desires and dependence formations. We imagine a queer continuum, or a continuum of ecosocial desire. Desires in the forest, desires within contaminated collaborations, and among more than human life forms. Our desire to be part of a larger timescale and to a different future.
Most of us learn to ignore the multi-species worlds around us. Projects for rebuilding curiosity are essential work for living with others. We are contaminated by our encounters. Right now, we are curious regarding the vibrant life of spruce bark beetles, dancing, leaving elaborate patterns or messages that nobody can ignore. Do we want to follow them in their dance? Are they our allies in advocating? The forest shall be renewed in accordance with mixed forest principles, stated by the Women's Organization for World Order in 1937, that so strongly influenced the Fogesta group.
Landscapes are not backdrops for historical actions. They are themselves active. Watching landscapes in formation shows human joining other living beings in shaping worlds.
Everyone carries a history of contamination. Purity is not an option.
Entanglement bursts categories and upends identities.
Almost all development may be co-development, in contrast to earlier focus on life as internally self-organizing systems.
When we arrive, you will not get a map of forest calling, a never-ending contaminated collaboration, or dancing is a form of forest knowledge. Instead, we invite you to follow us in carrying out a series of uncertain exercises. We will guide you mostly in silence. We will move along the triangular border.
Thank you so much, Wool and Forest Calling, for taking us into the nature in this way. Now we will attend as a performance, online performance of Sandra Borgitz. Yeah.
Thank you, Jill.
So thank you so much, Sandra. You took us somewhere else, not like before. So thank you so much doing this for us. And now we will see a video performance by Bianca Hisse. Thank you, Bianca, so much for this special public place and a very special meeting between humankind and some kind of nature as well, I think, or some. And now we will go on to be Beyond's open session. And as we said before, we will turn down our video screens. So,
may I just ask something? Did you agreed on a way to end this open session?
Yeah. I have a timer here. I'll go for about 15 minutes. So
perfect.
Yeah, that's good. So as just for the rest of them too as well. So that there's a meditation bell that'll ring, like, you know. But what I want to do is maybe James, I'll get you to start with this, to do this hand thing. We'll just do this hand thing together. So you know, when we're all, I can't see myself. I want to see myself with you as all. I don't want to be just. Can I change that? Okay. Yeah. Okay, so James, you can take it away there, and I'm going to start the time now. Okay.
Brian, we can only see you.
Unmute yourselves, James, and all the Be Beyond people, if they can unmute themselves.
You can switch to gallery view.
Yeah, we can only see you.
Yeah.
Brian,
No, well, I can see you. I can see you all on the one frame here. Bernadette, Hella,
okay.
James, Alistair, Fausto, Eleni, Sarah, Sinead, Elaine. Where did Kiki go to? I seen she was here. Oh no, there's Kiki. Yeah, yeah.
No,
okay.
no, I can just see the live on Facebook view, and it's just showing you, and then everyone else is in top and small screen. So I can see.
Well, I think if you're working on a computer, just go to the gallery view there, and press gallery view. That's how I got it.
Just check that. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, but the spotlight should select all of Be Beyond people only, so that we are visible on.
It has, for me, it has all Be Beyond people. So what about the rest of you?
No, I have everybody.
You have everybody?
Yeah.
I have just.
How many people have you got?
I have just Be Beyond.
Be Beyond people.
We've only got Be Beyond people highlighted. All the others are kind of at the very bottom of the screen in black.
I have everybody.
Yeah.
No, well, maybe it's just my view. Okay, not to worry.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, James, just do this hand thing.
Either copy somebody, initiate yourself, or stay still. And we'll keep doing this until we're all still. So stop, copy, or initiate. Okay. Toroloskai de want odevikai. Maland kode iskai want odeva. Divaikai. Ranto kode itont osta. Tibalante ikai kode va. Mishtavante idevante odeva. Lelamante ikote e. De code in de vinde e. De code e. De vande e. De va de code is de vande e. De valak e. De code is de. Koda de de van de specialai de o specialai de vonon de osta no on de osta ono on de osta vaske me kijken de kokailam 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 manduva Kukai Ulai Ukai Umai Ki I Umai Koai De I K I Manstu I Manstu I Manstu Va Reldi stands in the va mono 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 Olundi valando o che olundi vado o devasti che fasti vandi che te iandi devando o che alai mai peralli o feral 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 o feral o feral o feral feral Feral, 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 alamando, feral, oinamalo, feralo, calmin. Olmonte ta tu dante da tu de tu de tu de tu de tu man de vanto utbata ikalat kat ikon Raut kotskan die ist und in lagt ist lagt ist man ist und die Aishande it band Aishande but Aishande at a cold get on the immoral but in I in dalla but ist las kat bats kat rachte ist und die to pakati to pakata
Yeah.
Host. De hostamande osta. Host. Iska. O. Manda alla manda. Nan Fiarloa. La screw under it screw. screw Oscate, screw Oscate, screw Oscate, Oscate, the screw on the man the guide the fall, the ballad the ballad the ballad the Allah the malan the ra, no man is on the wall, no man, no man, no man, no, no man, no man, no man, no man, no man, no, no man, no, no man, no, no, no man, no man, no man, no man, no man, no man, va. Kipalate ikonde, kiai to uskai, red in the wind, red, red, obai ky, red in the might, fast, ki ko, red in the balai to va, the vai kai ko to va, ki kai red, go by the red, my stone, the one stone, is kai to ola stone, the kai lie the one to stone, the kai lie the uskai, the eye the stone, the kai lie the vai the stone, the stone to obey to balan to ba. De ralom ik is die wastaan de rakte ieder want op de ijs aan mij en dan aan mij maar dan bij Kutai baby tu vai lai kung de va ki osta keral de mondo vikailal istan de vis coral de kai ondo oh my sha kovate koaita balande vistatis tava kovan redaman radinuman kiayoda dikaiostai tava diaiko I my and o the way ki tu and stand o istaidava usmaidava I len on the oscaru code stone on the code code on moonstone feral screw red man the screw the ral on the code one red two stone no man I host o screw feral red feral L the vata and the balan the the van the vanda the dan the lama the good man red to I stone feral host o red man ka the on the on the alde ikata man no man is da ki alai kota red man the sky screw on no man could I no man could I no man could I feral no man could I oh feral could I oh red could I cold I red cold I red feral oh I cold no man oh I cold no man feral screw moonstone red moonstone red moonstone red moonstone red moonstone red stone red stone Somebody chaos red screw could I oh could I oh could I oh host could I oh host could I living into murders to murders living into murders living into murders Weisheit wunderbar Telten Wande into I Vale by Tova my errors by living into mers of I sustento que odo godai cod va lava squate con pe ma tova de vasto
F. Et.
Peralo if I domando
And
Debate astega Picata tonta tega ske
That's it. Good. Thank you.
Thank you so much letting us into this fantastic and amazing collaboration where it seems like anything could happen. So thank you so much. And now we have the last video of Wool, and then we'll be rounding up, saying goodbye. Yes. So happy that it did happen. So I really want to thank you all. We want to thank you all for your collaboration and your thoughts about this special time and all the performances that you have been showing and being here with us. So great. And Dennis, did I forget to say something? Could you, if there is something you want to say as well?
No, just thank you very much, and so great to see many of you. I mean, it would be impossible without this. I mean, I would just say that the restrictions and kind of they give actually possibilities. We wouldn't be probably have these wonderful tools to see each other in this kind of very nice and collaborative ways as well. So if the life would just continue as it is, we will not have this possibility probably. Yeah, that's what I would like to add also about how just politically, and we saw these fantastic different ways of moving into nature, moving into digital, keeping presence in different ways. The one thing I would like also to mention from myself and from my experience from Belarus, what is happening now, how pandemic and this kind of restrictions gave quite a strong push for the people to develop self-awareness and their own strengths. So in the sense that we as performance artists, we don't own performances anymore. The performance is on the streets, it's in the people, it's in the protests. And I think that it's both these restrictions and protests and everything that is happening around us. I think it has enormous significance right now. So we probably not just suffering from something, we are suffering big change. And I think that is the very importance of that we could meet at this moment as well. And so great to see all of your faces.
Yeah, is there anybody else that has something before we let Jan Huntington talking about the future?
Nope.
Something. Sorry, my name's Elaine McGinn, and I'm part of Be Beyond. I kind of try to look at it as the pandemic as some time for us to actually take a look at their values, and I think that for me, I'm seeing a lot of my values being challenged and changed, and I'm sure that's true of a lot of us. And I kind of look at that as something that is quite positive, and who knows what will come out of it on either side in either way. But I think that there's some really good things to look forward to as well. For example, this would never have been possible before. And I know it's not perfect, but at least we're connecting. So, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Also, it helps to, the situation helps us to look and think more holistically. Can you hear me at all?
Yeah, we
hear you.
I hear you.
Rather than in a kind of more usual binary kind of either or oppositional kind of way. I think, yeah, to find solutions, we need to think not only, not only nationally, internationally, but locally and globally.
Yeah, like a lot of the people from Be Beyond are there's Spain, two in Germany, Greece, sort of north of England, Belfast, Donegal, Sligo, I can't remember, Bangor, like that there. So it's like we couldn't actually do this unless we were in the physical one space, like, so there's that sort of thing as well. So we couldn't. So,
yeah,
that will bring us.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing, all of you.
Yeah.
Happy day, happy day.
Yeah.
Happy, very happy days. Happy days and nights. Yeah.
Yes. Let's have a good evening.
Have good evening. Happy afternoons.
Yeah.
So.
So Jon, The
Yes.
last word is yours.
Yes, I just wanted to say quickly thank you all for this great presentations and great performative works. It's been super interesting and great afternoon here. But I would just want to say some last things, that this seminar is one of the series of seminars that we are hosting, digital seminars that we are hosting. It's the international group at Konstakademin here in Gothenburg in Sweden. And these seminars try to highlight how artist-driven initiatives and artists address different kind of urgent societal issues today, but more specifically in relation to the pandemic. So we just need give a little bit like a heads up that there's another one coming the 21st of April, which is named How to Keep Your Calm, Art as Alternative, which will include a couple of different platforms from different parts of Europe. So that's, yeah. And thank you all a lot for today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Keep us posted.
Yeah.
Keep in touch.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for coming well, and stay well.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.